Skid y'all, welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host Sam, and today I'm bringing you guys a vid that I have been waiting to make for a long time. Yes, today I'm going to be breaking down all 10 of our undrafted free agent acquisitions. I'll be looking at their pros, I'll be looking at their cons, I'll be looking what benefit they'll have for the team, and I'll look at their projection for this upcoming season. Before getting into it, make sure to follow me on Twitter at StoneColdKittle, and if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave them in the chat below. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So before we look at each individual guy, let's look at the players who we will be breaking down today, all of our undrafted free agents. So those guys are Rutter, Chase Harrell, Fink, Darion Daniels, DeMarcus AC, Jamycal Hasty, Jarrod Maiden, Jonas Griffith, Josh Hokett, and Salvin Ahmed. Also, I will not be breaking down Ronald Perkins, the DB out of Missouri. He was expecting to get a minicamp invite. He did not sign a contract to be an undrafted free agent. And considering the COVID situation in our country right now, I don't know what the situation with minicamp is, so he may not be on the roster. So the first guy we're going to take a look at is Rutter, the 6'1", 205-pound quarterback out of North Central College in Illinois. Now, this kid is widely considered to be the greatest quarterback in Division III history, and the film will tell you all about that. Additionally, his senior stats are absolutely ridiculous. His completion percentage was 71%. He put up 4,591 yards, 56 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and a 14-1 record en route to a Division III championship. That's ridiculous for any quarterback if you ask me. Now, Rutter has so much upside to him in a lot of pros. He likes to be mobile. He's not afraid to be hit. He has a rocket arm and pinpoint accuracy. He's got a quick release. He constantly hits receivers in stride and is consistent all around. He's got a phenomenal field vision. He can easily be trusted on fourth down. And he absolutely dominated Division III football. Guys, if I'm being honest, when I watched this tape, I saw Patrick Mahomes. This dude can do it all. And if you haven't watched this tape, you guys are missing out. Now, if he looks like Patrick Mahomes, then why did he go undrafted? Well, the obvious one is that he's extremely unproven considering he played D3 football. So this dude's extremely raw and has a very low floor. His mobility is also probably not going to translate to the NFL, and he may not be the best fit in our system as he's more of a vertical QB and loves to go long. But again, he can adapt to our system pretty easily considering how raw he is. Another thing I noticed from him is that sometimes he gets tunnel vision, which didn't impact him too much in college, but that, in my opinion, will definitely haunt him in the NFL. So with that all being said, where do I see him on our team? In my opinion, this dude's going to be the third string quarterback instead of CJ Beathard. This dude has way more upside than Beathard, and in my opinion, can easily develop to be better than him. So that's why I see him being our third string quarterback and being at the top of our practice squad list. And ultimately, with Nick Mullins' contract expiring, we could see him be the backup next year. So all in all, I am very excited to watch Rutter be a 49er, and I hope you guys are too. The next undrafted free agent is probably my favorite player out of this group, Baylor running back Jamycal Hasty. This guy's 5'8", 203 pounds, and ran a 4.56 40. Now, looking at what Hasty brings to the table, I have no clue how this guy did not get drafted. He's an elusive back who gets open in the passing game and has great hands to catch the ball. He's physical and hard to bring down. He'll fight for extra yards. He's a short yardage guy, which is a weakness for most teams, but in our system, it's a huge plus. He also has decent field vision, puts great moves on defenders, has great route running abilities, and he's very well balanced. These are all traits that I want to see in every running back who enters our system, and that's exactly why I think he will thrive here. Now, the three weaknesses for him are his blocking ability, his average IQ, and his small catch radius. But frankly, I don't think these are going to haunt him too much considering our running back depth. Plus, everyone has the opportunity to improve on their IQ, especially as a rookie. Now, as I said earlier, I think Hasty will thrive here. And adding on to that, I think Hasty is going to beat out Jeff Wilson Jr. and make the 53-man roster this year. And not only that, I think he's going to make a major impact this upcoming season. He has everything it takes to be a great running back in the NFL. And considering he's working with a running back guru in Kyle Shanahan, this kid is set up to have a phenomenal career in the league. The other running back that we signed is Salvin Ahmed. The former Washington running back is 5'11", weighs 196 pounds, and ran a 4.62 40 at the combine, but he does play faster than this time. Now, watching Ahmed's film, I saw a lot of similarities to Jamycal Hasty in his film, but there were also some major differences. Most of them were not in Ahmed's favor. The biggest difference is that Ahmed is significantly less physical than Hasty, and one of the biggest reasons why I like Hasty a lot more than Ahmed. Ahmed is also a guy that doesn't really want to get the short yardage. He's less versatile, and he tries to find holes, while Hasty really tries to find the best route whether there's a hole or not. Also, I would never trust Ahmed on 3rd or 4th down. He's got a lot of work to do for me to gain that trust as well. The one thing that Ahmed does have in favor when compared to Hasty is that he is a slightly better receiver, but at the end of the day, Hasty is a lot better than Ahmed in my opinion. He'll have more success in the league than him, and with that being said, I don't really see Ahmed playing a role for our team, especially if Jeff Wilson's going to be on the practice squad, and thus Ahmed will get cut. So I do hope that he has a decent career in the NFL, but I don't really see him doing much in the Bay. Moving on, we got the 6'1", 225-pound fullback Josh Hokett out of Fresno State, who ran a 4.87 40. Now, before I talk about Hokett, there's no film of him playing fullback in college as he was a running back, so there are probably going to be traits that Hokett hasn't not been able to show in game. Anyways, Hokett, who is also an All-American wrestler at Fresno State, is a physical player who is very hard to bring down and will fight for extra yards. He gets great leverage on guys, which is probably because of his wrestling abilities. He can read off and fight tackles well. He's usually the RB1 for goal line stands and easily pounds into the end zone. So this is another short yard guy, and to top it all off, he's a fantastic blocker. So to sum it all up, this guy has everything that it takes to be an NFL fullback. However, there are a few downsides to him that do concern me. He doesn't have the best field vision, he's not the best route runner, he doesn't do much in the passing game, and in my opinion, he needs to build up a bit more strength. Now, the big question concerning his fate with the team is how will Kyle Shanahan utilize his run abilities? Because if he doesn't like them, he'll for sure be cut, but if he can use them well, maybe he can sub onto the practice squad. Anyways, with Ari having Juszczyk in a pretty deep tight end room, especially with the addition of Charlie Warner, I think it's going to be hard for Hokett to play a role for us, and therefore I think he'll get cut. However, remember his name because I do think he'll be able to make an impact on another roster. Next guy is the slippery fox, Notre Dame wide receiver Chris Fink. Fink is 5'9", weighs 186 pounds, and ran a 4.57 40 and had a 40-inch vertical, so pretty good measurables for someone his size. One thing that I really like about Fink is that he can easily play the role that Trent Taylor plays for us in case Taylor's foot injury is still nagging him, which I have a bad feeling it is, so Fink is going to be a good insurance in case Trent's not ready to come back. Fink is also a refined route runner, a great punt returner, which in my opinion we need. He finds holes easily, his size allows him to put great moves on defenders, and he was a 4-down receiver. Now, watching his tape, I felt like he may not fit our scheme that well. He's not going to be part of our yak attack offense. He doesn't create a whole lot of separation. He's not that physical besides when it comes to blocking, although he is a below average blocker. He needs to improve on his technique when catching the ball in stride, and overall, he was more productive his junior year than his senior year. With all that being said, if this was a normal season, I would say he would be cut, considering that I believe Juwan Jennings will be our practice squad receiver. But considering that the league is expanding the practice squad from 10 to 12 players, I think that Fink will take one of those last practice squad spots due to his ability to take that Trent Taylor role if needed and his punt returning abilities. I think that being on the practice squad will help him develop the skills that need improvement, and maybe one day he'll suit up for us in the actual game. The last offensive guy that the Niners signed is Chase Harrell, the tight end out of Arkansas. Now, right off the bat, his measurables are insane. 6'4", 249 pounds, 4'5", 140, and a 6'7", 6'3" cone. Do those measurements remind you of anyone? Yep, George Kittle put up very similar measurables to Harrell, and going deeper, these guys had very similar college experiences. Fast, athletic guys who are versatile and can play a lot of different places. Harrell was a wide receiver at Kansas, and the thing that caught my eye when researching him is that Chris Kusarek, our defensive line coach, ran his workouts. So maybe we're seeing someone that can play defensive end as well. Now, the reason why Harrell went undrafted is that this dude probably has one of the lowest floors I've seen out of a prospect coming out of college. He had only 3 catches last season. He had very limited opportunities considering he was the number 2 tight end for most of the year until Arkansas dismissed Cheyenne O'Grady, who was significantly better than him, and only got dismissed because of off-the-field issues. There's also little to no film on him besides film of him in with the field goal unit. So my big question is this. Why is he here? What did our team see in him that led us to bringing him in? What did our defensive line coach do in his workout, and why did he run the workout? Is this something with his first step, maybe why he's here? Right now, there's so many questions surrounding Harrell, so I'm very interested to see what happens to him and how his career pans out. But as for now, I don't think he'll be able to make the roster as a wide receiver, tight end, or defensive end, as we already have a lot of depth at all of those positions, and therefore, I think he'll get cut. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball with Darion Daniels, the 6'3", 311-pound defensive tackle out of Nebraska. Now, Daniels only played 1 season at Nebraska. He transferred from Oklahoma State, and in that 1 season, he was a captain and was an all Big Ten honorable mention, So he had a pretty decent senior season to say the least. Some things that I like about Daniels is that he's a 4-down guy, he's quick off the line, he closes up run gaps easily and is a noticeably better run stopper. He's got a quick and swift swim move, and he was often double teamed by opposing O-lines, so you know that he can be a bit of a threat. However, I don't think he's going to make the roster. He's got some pretty glaring downsides in my opinion. He has absolutely no athleticism. He's a below average pass rusher. His tackling technique is mediocre. I don't think his strength will translate well to the NFL, and he's had some injury history in the past, which is never good considering he's that big. However, last season he only missed 1 game, so you could also look at that as a pro rather than a con. So, with that being said, along with our defensive tackle depth with Armstead, Kinlaw, Solly, DJ Jones, Ronald Blair, Julian Taylor, Kevin Givens, I don't think he has much of a chance to make the roster unless one of our defensive tackles goes down, and if that did happen, he'd probably be towards the end of the practice squad list. Jonas Griffith is the next guy we're going to look at, the Indiana State linebacker and the multiple-time FCS All-American who is 6'4", weighs 250 pounds, and ran a 4.62 40 along with repping 27 bench presses. So this kid seems pretty similar to Fred Warner coming out of college. As you can probably tell, Griffith had a very accomplished collegiate career. He consistently played well throughout his 4 years and was on the field most of the time, so another 4-down guy. Some other things I like about Griffith are that he can play inside linebacker or outside linebacker, and he also plays on special teams. He's hard-hitting, he wraps up players well, he's an above-average run defender, he's excellent in zone coverage, he's a strong pass rusher, so probably a guy to have in on linebacker blitz plays, and overall, he's a pretty strong guy. There are also several things that do concern me with him. He tackles too low too often, and when he tackles high, his leverage is pretty inconsistent. He's slow to jump off the snap, he's unproven in man coverage, and his technique to shed blocks is weak and a bit slow, although he is a lot better at shedding blocks when pass rushing due to his strength. Now, where I see him on the roster really depends on what the Niners see in Joe Walker, the former Cardinals linebacker who we signed in free agency. Because if the Niners like him, then ZEZE will be on the practice squad, leaving no room for Griffith. But if the Niners aren't sold on Walker, then he'll get cut, ZEZE will make the roster again, and Griffith will make the practice squad, and in my opinion, have a decent chance to make an impact one day. As for now, I do like Joe Walker, so I think Griffith will get cut. But when training camp starts, Joe Walker and Jonas Griffith are going to be 2 people to keep an eye on. Moving on to the secondary with the 6'2", 195-pound Missouri cornerback DeMarcus AC. Now, AC is another guy that I love. He ran a 4.45 40. He's a very physical player. He's got solid athleticism. He can play safety if needed. He reads the quarterback well. He's very good in zone coverage, which we run a lot. And most scouts say his ceiling is very high. So these are all traits that I love to see in NFL cornerbacks. Another thing that I love about AC is that he doesn't have too many downsides to his play. The most glaring of these downsides is his hip and lateral movement, which is not great. And his deep ball coverage is not at an NFL-ready level, but I think he has lots of room to improve at that. Not to mention that teams typically do not go deep on us considering how strong our defensive line is. With all that being said, I think AC will be on the roster this year. I think he'll beat out guys like DJ Reed, Jason Verrett, and Dante Johnson and be a backup cornerback on his roster. I really like AC a lot, and I think he's going to have a great NFL career, so I hope you guys are excited to see him as well. The 10th and final undrafted free agent that we signed is 6 foot, 225-pound safety out of Alabama, Jarrod Maiden. Now, Maiden had a pretty successful senior year at Alabama. He led the team in interceptions and finished second in the SEC in that category with 4 picks. But surprisingly, he didn't receive a combine invite, which hurt his draft stock a lot. And in my opinion, he definitely should have been a late round pick. Some things I really like about Maiden are his versatility, as he can play anywhere in the secondary, his ability to hit players hard, his experience in both man and zone coverage, and his ability to get in front of defenders well on man coverage. So overall, Maiden is a do-it-all DB who reminds me a lot of Adrian Colbert when he came out of college. Now, although I love his upsides, I am a bit concerned about his downsides. One thing that concerns me a lot is that his tackling technique is a bit inconsistent, as too often he goes for the hard hit rather than wrapping his man up. And adding on to that, his ability to wrap up defenders may not translate to the NFL that well. Maiden also doesn't shed blocks that well, plays much slower than his 4.45 40 time, has an average IQ, and from what I saw, seemed to not be putting in 100% effort on the field, which concerns me the most. So, all in all, Maiden has what it takes to be an NFL DB, but needs to be more consistent to make an impact in the league. I do think the Niners will give Maiden a chance, however. The question is, do they value run defense or air defense more? Because if they value run defense more, Marcel Harris easily makes the team over him. But if they want more air defense, I think there could be a chance that Maiden gets the slight edge over Marcel Harris. However, even if they do value air defense more, I like what I saw Marcel Harris last year, regardless of his average pass coverage ability, and I think he'll make the roster, sending Jarrod Maiden in the practice squad, where I think he'll be able to develop and make an impact on the 53-man roster one day. Okay, guys, so I just found out that the DJ Reed rumor where he tore his pectoral is confirmed true. So after that, I do think Jarrod Maiden will make the roster and fill in that slot cornerback spot that DJ Reed vacated. So that's going to do it, guys. Those are our 10 undrafted free agents. I really like all of these players, and I am very excited to see what they can do for us and what they'll bring to the table. If you think there's a guy on here that will make an impact that I don't think will make an impact, let me know. I'd love to hear your opinions on all of these guys. Also, you guys absolutely loved my video on Jamal Adams and why a trade to the Niners would make sense. And as I'm recording this, we're at 6.7K views, which is just crazy. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't watched that video, make sure to do so. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Go Niners.